In this lecture, I would like to teach you the basic AJAX. And in particular, I would like to teach you how to use CRUD with AJAX. Okay. By now, I think you understand what is CRUD. And yeah, let's see how we can deal with AJAX. AJAX is the asynchronous JavaScript and XML. And I will teach you a little bit about jQuery so you can have some idea how to use the jQuery. And yeah, we will implement the jQuery with basic syntax of AJAX. If you know the jQuery in the basic, it will be better for you to know this basic one to improve your knowledge about other kind of JavaScript. So why do we need AJAX for CRUD? You already know we can use CRUD with Python. When you use the CRUD with Python, it means you're relying the CRUD on the backend. But now we are going to use CRUD in the AJAX. It means it will be in the front end. So why do we need that one? First, sometimes we want to do inline edit in the table. So in the case of this one, so nowadays there are many good user interface UI, where they have a very good function. So you can directly change the data. Let's say if you deal with the home tech system, second Chongsan. So yeah, in that system you can input directly, you can modify, you can delete, and etc. in the table. And with the AJAX, you can create a new model instance without going back and forth in the website. So you don't need to click and then go back and then get back to the list and then go back again to the update, go back to the insert and etc. So you don't need to go back and forth. And you can do the click operation in the application. So directly in what page, okay, so you don't need to refresh again. And to manipulate models and database without having to refresh the web pages, it's fine. So this is the most important thing. Because when you do the refresh, it means there is a time to read the data, time to update the data, and it is depending on the connection time to the server. So the CRUD with AJAX can be simplified with this diagram. So you have the server and browser. At the first time, of course, you need to do something. We can say this is the initial. So the initial request to the server, and it will return the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And after you do this one, next, whenever you have the modification, you need to modify. So you just need the JavaScript. And the JavaScript will go to the AJAX engine, and this AJAX engine will modify something in the server. And the server will tell the AJAX engine to show into the browser. So the first is the initial request by the browser. Usually the user requests a particular URL. Then the complete page is rendered by the server. Complete page rendered by the server is along with the JavaScript AJAX engine and send the result to the client. For example, you can see the HTML, CSS, JavaScript AJAX. And all subsequent requests to the server are initiated as function calls to the JavaScript engine. So if you have this one, JavaScript calls, this is a request to the server from the JavaScript engine. And the JavaScript engine then makes an XML HTTP request to the server. So it makes the request to the server. So the server processes the request and send a response in XML format to the client. The server will send XML format to the client. It contains the data only. So it contains only the data of the page elements that need to be changed. So it means everything in the HTML, it will not be changed. They just send the data only. So in most cases, the data compress just a fraction of a total page markup. At the end, the AJAX engine processes the server response, updates the relevant page content, or performs another operation with new data. So after we go to this AJAX engine, it will update the HTML and the CSS only in a particular section. So you don't need to do all the HTML file anymore. That's why the AJAX is very useful for efficient operation. So let's make an example with this AJAX. We can use the existing project basic REST with some modification and improvement. Now let's modify the models. So we have the app which is post, and let's modify the models. And next we will create additional templates, views and URL for this group purpose. First, let's modify the models. So the models that you have in the previous section, this is the models. Okay, when we learn this one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 columns: title, content, created at, and updated at. Now I want to add 2 more data. So I'm going to add these 2 columns, okay, add these 2 lines in the models.py. So I'm going to put it in between those 2. Okay, in between this one and in between this one. So let's suppose you do your team project, and then let's say you already have your table, and then you want to modify the column. Then you can do something like this one. So I have the title, I have the content. Now I'm going to add another column, which is like. Maybe this is the number of people who like the post, and dislike. This is the number of people who dislike the post. The other data is still the same. Okay, created at, updated at. As you know, whenever we update the data, so we need to do the make migration, migrate, and then you can check the data in the admin. So let me choose this. So I'm going to make the migration by using the tools. So I'm going to run the manage.py to make migration. When you finish the make migration, you will see there are 2 additional things. So add field dislike to the post, and then add field like to post. After you finish with the make migration, you need to migrate. So migrate means you want to update all those things into the Django system or the Django environment. Once you complete this one, let me check. I think, yeah, last time the admin in this PyCharm is not working well. So let me just use the database. me use push. Okay, so we have this line and line. Okay. Now let's update the data, maybe like this one. Okay, the first post I have 100 people who like it. So the first post, only one person disliked. The second post, yeah, 47, 82 and 47. Okay, 82 and 47. This is just example, okay? And then the next one is 34 and 95. 34 and 95. And then the fourth is 50 and 51. 50 and 51. This is example. So if you update using this database, so you can upload it or you can click submit. So there's another things here, preview pending changes, but yeah, usually we just click submit and this new data will be updated. So now we have the new data in our database. Now, if you already learned group, so the basic group is to view the data. So let's make another file. The file name is views underbar group. So let's make in the post, let's make another file name. The file name is views underbar group. So basically, your file name like views.py, it can be any name. So you don't need to follow the views.py as long as you know how to connect all the functions into this function. Now this views group.py, it contains this one. So I'm going to use the models. So in the models, I have a table named post. And if I go to index, it will go to index.html in the folder group. And then if I click this one, read, so I'm going to check all the data, which is objects.all. And then I'm going to put the data, which is from the backend, and I want to transfer it into the front end. And I want to show it into the result later. Okay. I hope it is not difficult for you. And then we can create another URLs for the post. So I will make the URLs underbar group. This one is URLs underbar group. Okay. Because our file name is views underbar group. That's why when we do the import, we need to import from this views underbar group. This is the views underbar group. You need to use the same name. Okay. If it is views group, then you can use views group. If you are using views.py, then you can use views.py. That's why the name is important. Even though you change the name, it does not matter. And then you have the URL patterns. So if there is nothing, then you will go to index. If you want to show the data, then click. In the parents, okay, you need to put one more. You need to put one more things in the URL as pattern. It means I'm going to access to the group. So the group will be on the post underbar post dot urls underbar group. So I will put this one into the URLs in the parent, and then I have this one. So whenever I call the link CRUD, then it will go to this one. Now let's create HTML file. As you know, we need to have several HTML files to make your website is more fancy. Now I will make three different HTML files. The first is base, and the second is index, and the last is p-result. Now let's make another folder, and the folder name is CRUD, because the HTML file will be in the template folder. So in the templates, let's make another directory, and let's make the folder CRUD. So you have the new folder CRUD here, and in this CRUD you will create those three files: base.html, index.html, and p-result. So the base will be this one. Let me just copy. So in the CRUD, I will make HTML file, and the HTML file is base. Okay, let me just copy and paste at this moment. And the second one is index.html. Index.html, and then I will copy and paste. And then the last one is p-result. P-result.html. So this is the index.html, and this is the p-result.html. Okay. Yeah, for this one, do I need to put any this? Okay, anyway, please put the static, if you still remember. Put the static to access your external file. So we are going to use JavaScript, okay, and the JavaScript will be located into the static file. So do not forget to put this one into the settings.py. So you go to the settings.py. Maybe for the easy access, you can put it into the last section here. I forgot to click the OS. Okay, just import OS. Okay, import to OS, so it means what is it? Interesting. I cannot change this one. This one. Okay, anyway, you can import OS because we need to get the operating system. Some of you use Mac. If you use Mac, then you need to put this one because the folder name will be different with Windows. So using the import OS, you will have more confidence to get your data in the static folder. Okay, so I make this one the import OS to go to the static folder, and yeah, you can make the static folder here static. So we are going to put the JavaScript file in the static folder later. So in the static folder, so create a subfolder JS. So it refers to JavaScript. And let's create a new file, script underbar root. Yes. Now let's move to the static. I will make a new directory, which is JS. So you can see in the left panel, you have the folder static and you have the folder JS. And after you have this one, now you can make a new JavaScript file, and let's the name is script underbar clut. So you can see there is one file, script underbar clut, script underbar clut.js, and copy and paste this one. Okay, so copy and paste this one into the JavaScript file. Now let's see how this link works. Oh, okay, I didn't run it. Okay, now you will see this is the website. Okay, so you have the sign up button, you have the login button. Okay, if you create your own website, please make sure that you have the important function. If you have the login, then you need to provide the login. If you need to sign up for the new members, yeah, you can have the sign up and etc. Okay. Oh, for the next meeting, okay, for making the system architecture, please also create your plan for the user interface. Right. So the plan for user interface means like this one. This is the user interface. So you need to make a plan. Okay, I need to put the title here, and then I need to put two text box here. I need to put a table here, and in the table, I will make this button, and the table will have title, content, like, dislike, and so on. Okay, so just make a plan for your user interface, and let's discuss it in the meeting. Okay. So this is the page, and then yeah, we have this result. Now, how can we do this one? First, paste. Okay. I think on the base, you can understand that this is only a kind of template. This is the base of the HTML file. This is the navigation. This is using the JavaScript and CSS from the Bootstrap. And this is the name, Postbook. Okay? Because it is on the shop, so it means we go nowhere. There is nothing that we can go for this Postbook. And this post is also, yeah, we go nowhere. And then we have groups, profile, we have the span for sign up, we have also the span for login, and then we have the title, okay, by Python Django simple code with Ajax. So the detail will be in the body. So in this space, we do not declare anybody. So the block body, it goes to the index.html. So in the index.html, you already know about extends. Okay? So there's extends and there's also inherit. This is for the inheritance. So the block body is this one. It is form. So the form, you need to use CSRF token. If you still remember this CSRF token, it is to connect the data into the database. So it is a div class. We have two input. The first is the title, and the second is the content. So the title, it is a type of text, and the ID is title. It is required. So required means you need to put a value. If there is no value, then it will be invalid. Content. So the content, the type is text area. It is also required. So it should have a value. And we have button. So the button is just a button. When you press this button, then this form will be executed. Now you will see result. There is one ID, we call it the ID result in the index.html. So we have the result. This is the result. The result here is a table. This table is using a class from the Bootstrap, and the header, we have 5 headers: title, content, like, dislike, and action. This action means we can delete or we can edit. And the body of this table, it will show the title, content, like, and dislike. And then we have edit and we have delete. So edit means I'm going to modify a particular data in the particular ID, and delete means I want to remove data which is in the particular ID. So this, yeah, tree, this index HTML, yeah, you can see with this result. Now, can we create? Of course not yet, because we have only function to read. The function that we have is group. So we have only the index and read. Okay, so we still cannot update, we cannot create, we cannot delete. So before we go into the details, we need to understand what is jQuery. jQuery some people mention that this is the basic template of JavaScript. In the jQuery, okay, so jQuery is one of the many available libraries that provide functions for manipulating the web page. And it is fairly good performance. And it helps to keep your JavaScript code clean. This indirectly helps to protect security somewhat. So in some cases, it helps the security problem. So those are the benefits of using such a library. But the downside is that you have an extra dependency and you need to learn a new library. So nowadays there are so many libraries of JavaScript, and if you want to access those like new library, it means you need to have more time to learn those libraries. So jQuery is a cross-platform JavaScript library, and it is designed to simplify the client-side scripting. We call this is client-side scripting because we are using the script, we are using the JavaScript for the basis. So it is a kind of new programming style that use selector engine. Okay, so we will check what is selector engine. It is to enable the DOM element selection. DOM, it means the document object model. And we can traverse cell. It means I can access the data. I can access the data with some traversal mechanism, and we can also do some manipulation. So some features of the jQuery, we can do the DOM manipulation. DOM, it is the document object model. So this is really what the jQuery does. So it makes incredible easy to select, traverse, and modify HTML elements. Yeah, if we can say this is easy, okay, because we have the mechanism. So later on we can see what is the ID. So example, what is the ID? The ID is example. Then yeah, it is easy. But you need to understand why we need to use sharp. And there might be another like dollar. Why we need to use dollar and so on. Event handling. For the event handling, jQuery simplifies how you attach and manage event listener to HTML events. So making your web pages interactive. It means when you move your mouse, some of them, some of the website will change the color. When you move the mouse, some of the website will change the display and so on. So it is based on the jQuery. Effect and animations. So it provides built-in method to create smooth visual effects and animation without writing a lot of code in JavaScript. AJAX. So the jQuery streamlines the process of making asynchronous request to the server, allowing you to update parts of your web page without a full reload. So full reload means you do not need to refresh the whole page. So you can just refresh on the particular page or on the particular input. And the jQuery is cross-browser compatibility. So it has a very good advantage because now, many of you use Windows, and also now we have another OS like the Mac, and I think in the future in China they develop a new OS. So if they have a new OS, it means the new OS should be compatible. And this jQuery, at least now it is compatible with the Windows and Mac OS. So there are several ways to start using the jQuery on your website. So the jQuery is similar to how you use the Bootstrap. When you use the Bootstrap, you need to access to the JavaScript in the Bootstrap. So the jQuery is also the same. You need to access the link on the jQuery. Go to the website of jQuery. Okay. So the jQuery, this is the old one, but yeah, people still use this one. And we can use the support whether it is download the library into your computer, or you can reuse there is there's no things this one. Oh, we can deal with this one. So this is the code from the jQuery. This is the latest code. And yeah, you can just reuse what they already developed. So we don't need to understand all those things. We can just reuse it. So first, you can download the jQuery into your computer, or you can include the jQuery from CDN. You know, CDN. This is a content delivery network. So we use this content. We reuse this content into our website. So we can use like this one script, and the source is the jQuery.js. It means if you use this part, you download the jQuery into your computer. But if you use this code, it means you are using the jQuery from the CDN or the jQuery website. So this is the simplest way. Download a copy of the jQuery file and store it in your hard drive. And you can refer to the JS file in your HTML. And then access the jQuery functions via dollar object. We will take a look what is the meaning by this dollar. So the tip is place the download file in the same directory as the pages where you wish to use it. If you want to use it, but I think I will not teach you this one, but some of the companies, okay, if you work in the companies, they prefer to download the files because they want to make something offline. In that case, you can put into the static. You can put into the static, and then you can have another folder. Another folder which is about the jQuery. When you create this jQuery, so everything that you download from the library, you can put into this folder. So I will skip this one. So if you do not want to download and host the jQuery yourself, you can include from the CDN or Content Delivery Network. Nowadays, Google, Microsoft, they use the jQuery a lot. That's why the jQuery, it seems not updated, but now you can access this kind of jQuery in the different website. If you are using the Google, so Google provides the Google API. If you are using Microsoft, Microsoft also provides the Microsoft API. So every company, yeah, they may develop their own web. So for example, this one is the jQuery from the Google. So when it is based on the Google, so it is fit with the Google web page. If it is based on the Microsoft, this is ASP.NET CDN, then it fits with the Microsoft web page. So this is the jQuery in the Microsoft environment. So if you ask me, what is the difference? The difference is only one company is Google, the other company is Microsoft, and they apply to their own website. So the jQuery syntax, it is based on the some symbol. Okay? So the jQuery syntax is a tailor-made for selecting the HTML elements and performing some action. Okay, so only selection and action. So the basic syntax is dollar select what is the component and action what is the function. So a dollar sign is to define or access the jQuery. A selector is to query or find the HTML element, and a jQuery action to be performed on the element. For example, I have this one, dollar. So it means I want to express the argument inside the parenthesis. Now let's say I have dollar diff. It means I need to do something at the diff time. I have dollar shop ID. So I need to do something at the particular ID. Now let's do with more complicated example. Dollar this and then hide. It means I want to hide the current element. Let's say I have the dollar P hide. So hide all the P element. I have dollar and then dot s dot hide. So I want to hide all elements with the class. Okay, dot means class, where the class include text. And dollar sharp test dot hide. In this case, I want to hide the element with the ID equal to test. So yeah, this is just some example of the jQuery. People say this is simple because it is short, but you need to understand how to put something in between these parentheses, how to put something in this parentheses. So if you want to learn more about the jQuery, so you can have this one. For example, yeah, we have a lot of event. Here we call it event. For example, you want to click mouse, or if you double click, if you mouse enter, then if you move your mouse, what happen? If you have mouse leave, then if you pull out your finger, what happen? The keyboard, it can be key press, key down, key up, form events. Whether you want to submit, you want to change, you want to focus on your to blur, document or window event. You can load, resize, scroll, unload, and etc. So it is based on the jQuery. So for example, you can see here, if you want to click, okay, if you click on the P, then what will happen? If you click on the P, so something will happen in between this function. So there are many things about the jQuery. So you can take a look at the details. If you need to study more about the jQuery, you can refer to this website. So for now, I will just give you the very basic one. Very basic one for this AJAX. Now, if you look at into the AJAX, okay, you look into this, we call this is the AJAX. We have dollar. So dollar, yeah, it refers to the jQuery syntax. And I want to put it into the document. So the document means the page in your website. And when it is ready, let's do this function. So what is the function? First, I want to check in with the jQuery. So this is the how to indicate the element in the web. So let's check the ID result. So this is ID. And the ID name is results. If the ID result is not null, then do action read. So where is read? This is a function here. There is a function read. So here I just spare some location. We will check this one, how to create, how to edit, how to update, and how to delete. Okay, so we will do this one later. So read means the function read, I'm going to read using the AJAX. So the AJAX start with the dollar sign. The dollar sign dot AJAX. It means it is the jQuery, and I'm going to use the function AJAX. The URL is based on the read, and the type is post, and the asynchronous is false. Now I have the data. The data that I want to show is based on this data press. So the result, okay, usually we want to have two kind of result, 0 and 1. Okay? So 1 means I want to show it. 0, there is another value. So let's make it as only 1. And we need to define the CSRF middleware token. So this token is to ensure that the JavaScript can connect to your chain. So this dollar is the jQuery, and we are going to input the name of the CSRF middleware token, and we are going to check the value. So this middleware token, I think you already know. Last time we learned about this setting. Yeah, this is the secret key, or sometimes we can use this as the token. So when we know the token value, so we will use this token value, and then yeah, finish. So everything, if everything is good, or if everything is there is no error, then it is success. If it is success, put into the result, put into the ID result. Okay. This is ID. Put the information in the ID result, and let's put it into the HTML file. So we want to put this URL. What is read? Okay. Read. So this is the data in the read. When you show the read like this one, so it is a kind of table. So how can we get this one? If you look into this, yeah, this is linked to the read, and then if you go back to the view, if you go back to the views group like this one, so there is a function read. What is the function read? The function read is to get all the data from posts and then put all the data into the post which is in the p result.html. Okay. So the p result.html, it is the p result.html. It is a table. Okay. This is a table, and this table is only a table, and it contains all the information from the backend, or all the information from the post. So we want to look for every data, which is the title, content, like, and dislike from the backend data. Once we have this table, okay, so we want to show it into the AJAX. So this one is AJAX with top table, and we put this one. So this is actually in the position of result. See, this result is in the index.html. Okay, let's see the index.html. In the index.html, yeah, you can have one div. Okay, so this is the div, and the ID is result. It means when you have the table, okay, from the p result, put this table into the div ID result. Then you will see this form is located in the same page with the table. Okay. That's how the AJAX work for this one. So setting the asynchronous to false means that the statement you are calling has to complete before the next statement in your function can be called. If you set the asynchronous true, then that statement will begin its execution, and the next statement will be called regardless of whether the async statement has completed yet. Yeah, in many times, because if we want to use this asynchronous true, yeah, sometimes there are some issues. So let's just make it asynchronous to false. Okay, so the next will be about the CRUD. Okay, let's have a break. Okay, I will continue after the break for the CRUD system.